This is DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and always smooth as a Rolls Royce. Welcome back to Presidential Perspectives, the show where I explore the leadership and legacies of America's presidents. Today, I'm diving into a comparison of two of the most controversial figures in modern history, Donald Trump and Richard Nixon. I'll look at how their leadership styles shaped their administrations and examine the marks they left on domestic policy. Let's begin with leadership style. Donald Trump's presidency was defined by a brash, confrontational approach. He was extremely public, using social media, most famously Twitter, to communicate directly with the public and address his opponents. His style was all about populism and disrupting traditional norms in Washington, often with a flair for drama that kept him at the center of attention. Richard Nixon, on the other hand, led a vastly different manner. Secretive and strategic, Nixon centralized power within the White House and preferred to operate through covert channels. He's often remembered for his paranoia and his efforts to control information and leaks, setting up a leadership dynamic focused more on manipulation and behind-the-scenes influence. So while Trump embraced visibility and confrontation, Nixon thrived on secrecy and control. Now let's turn to domestic policy. Trump's tenure brought significant changes, starting with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, a major overhaul that lowered corporate and individual tax rates. His administration also pushed for aggressive deregulation and rolled back various diversity and civil rights protections. On immigration, Trump made headlines with his border wall initiative, mass deportation plans, and the reinstatement of the Remain in Mexico policy. Nixon's domestic policy legacy is a mix of economic upheaval and progressive reform. In 1971, he introduced the new economic policy, which include wage and price controls, and famously ended the gold standard, a move often called the Nixon shock. Interestingly, Nixon also created the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, and he signed into law the landmark Clean Air Act in 1970. Additionally, his administration advanced school desegregation and signed Title IX, helping to promote gender equity in education. Foreign policy. Let's start with foreign policy. Donald Trump's approach was defined as his America First philosophy. He withdrew the United States from the Paris Climate Accords and the Iran nuclear deal, signaling a move away from the multilateral agreements and global cooperation. Trump also imposed sweeping tariffs on imports, including recent reciprocal tariffs that reached up to 54%. His administration saw direct talks with North Korea and a renegotiation of trade deals with China, actions that both challenged and disrupted the traditional diplomatic norms. In contrast, Richard Nixon's foreign policy was marked by groundbreaking diplomatic initiatives. He opened diplomatic relations with China, which dramatically shifted the global balance of power. Nixon also pursued détente with the Soviet Union and led strategic arms limitation talks or SALT, aiming to reduce the tensions and the risk of nuclear conflict. The Nixon Doctrine emphasized supporting U.S. allies with aid, but reducing the number of American troops abroad, a shift toward strategic partnerships and less direct military involvement. Both Trump and Nixon faced significant scandals and accountability crises, but the nature of the outcomes differed. Donald Trump was impeached twice, refused to concede the 2020 election, and currently faces multiple indictments. He has been a vocal proponent of presidential immunity, challenging the long-standing norms of accountability. Richard Nixon, of course, is forever linked to the Watergate scandal, which ultimately led to his resignation. Nixon acknowledged the public's right to know if the president was a crook, a moment that still resonates in discussions of executive power and transparency. So, what legacies did these men leave behind? Trump's presidency polarized American politics, reshaped the Republican Party into a populist movement and resulted in lasting judicial appointments. However, his tenure also saw an erosion of democratic norms and heightened cultural polarization. Nixon's legacy, despite his scandal, includes significant environmental reforms, like the creation of the EPA and the signing of the Clean Air Act, and foreign policy breakthroughs that influenced Cold War strategy for years to come. In summary, both Trump and Nixon expanded executive power, faced impeachment crises, and used divisive rhetoric. Yet their legacies divulge sharply. Nixon is remembered for strategic diplomacy and institutional reform, while Trump's impact centers on populism, norm-breaking, and a deeply polarized political culture. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for listening as I compared and contrasted the presidencies of Donald Trump and Richard Nixon, two leaders who, for better or for worse, changed the course of American history. And this is DFG signing off, saying, never make love by the garden gate. Though love is blind, the neighbors ain't. Stay easy, people.